What would you do if everything you'd worked for, your dreams, your respect, your whole identity, just vanished overnight? One day you're on top of the world. Loved, admired, celebrated. And the next? People won't even look you in the eye. Doors that were always open suddenly slam shut. People you thought would always stand by you, disappear. That's exactly what happened to Johnny Depp. For decades, he wasn't just a movie star. He was a legend. That kind of rare star that lit up a room without even trying. Everyone had their favorite Johnny Depp moment. Maybe it was his haunting eyes in Edward Scissorhands. Or the swagger of Captain Jack Sparrow. Or the quiet depth he brought to roles nobody else would dare to touch. He was everything Hollywood wanted, and more. He was unconventional. Mysterious. He didn't play by their rules, but that only made him more irresistible. Fans adored him. Directors lined up to work with him. His name alone was enough to sell tickets around the world. But fame, as it always does, has a way of turning on you. When his messy and very public divorce hit the tabloids, the headlines were brutal. Every detail of his private life was splashed across the front pages. Rumors became facts overnight. People who didn't know him, never even met him, suddenly felt entitled to judge him. The courtrooms became his stage, but there was no applause here. Just cameras, waiting to catch his worst moment. Every sigh, every glance, every little slip, picked apart, analyzed, turned into something it wasn't. And almost overnight, Hollywood turned its back. Studios dropped him. Projects he'd already signed were suddenly reconsidered. Friends he thought would defend him stayed quiet. Can you imagine what that feels like? For someone who had lived his whole life as an outsider finally finding his place in the world, to suddenly feel like he didn't belong anywhere anymore. Most people would have broken under that weight. And no one would have blamed him if he'd packed his bags, retreated to some faraway island, and disappeared forever. But Johnny? He chose a different path. He didn't fight back by shouting louder. He didn't play their game. He didn't even try to change anyone's mind at first. Instead, he went quiet. He did something that seems almost impossible in today's world. He unplugged. He stopped answering the noise. He went back to what made him feel alive. Painting. Music. The things he loved before the world fell in love with him. Hours in his studio, surrounded by blank canvases, letting his mind drift. No one judging him there. No one asking for an explanation. Just him and his colors. When he wasn't painting, he was playing music. Touring in Europe. Playing with his band to crowds who didn't care about gossip or headlines. People who came for the sound, not the scandal. That's the thing about art, it has a way of reminding you who you really are. Even when the world forgets. And while he worked on himself, he kept his circle small. That might have been the smartest thing he did. Because when the world turns against you, you start to believe it. You start to question yourself. And if you don't have people around you who truly know you, it's easy to lose sight of who you really are. But Johnny surrounded himself with people who reminded him that he was more than the worst thing anyone said about him. It wasn't easy. Some days, it probably felt impossible. But he kept going. Quietly. Patiently. Bit by bit, he started to rebuild. Smaller projects at first. Independent films. Little steps. He started showing his artwork in galleries, and it sold out almost instantly. People started to see the human behind the headlines. They remembered the man they'd fallen in love with decades before. And here's what most people don't understand, comebacks don't happen overnight. There's no big, dramatic moment where everyone suddenly loves you again. They happen slowly. One person at a time. One project at a time. One quiet victory at a time. Johnny also made another brilliant choice. He didn't try to fight every battle. He didn't respond to every headline. Didn't argue every lie. Didn't beg people to believe him. Because the truth is, not everyone will. And that's okay. Sometimes silence speaks louder than shouting ever could. He stayed creative. He stayed kind. Even when he was under fire, even when he was being dragged through the mud, he kept his head up. People noticed. And slowly, the tide started to turn. Fans who had walked away, came back. Studios that had cut him off, started to call again. Because no matter how hard they tried to tear him down, they couldn't erase what made him special. That's the thing about talent. About heart. About resilience. It shines through. And here's where his story becomes something all of us can learn from. Because when you really look at it closely, it's not just about Hollywood. It's not just about fame and cameras and movie sets. It's about something much deeper. Something we've all felt, even if we've never walked a red carpet or stood under the bright lights. It's easy to look at someone like Johnny Depp and think, well, that's different. He's a celebrity. He's rich. He has resources I don't. His life doesn't compare to mine. That's a natural reaction. Because on the outside, his world seems so far away from ours. The designer suits. The global premieres. The screaming fans. But when you strip all that away, you see the same human pain. The same confusion. The same loneliness. Because this feeling of being judged unfairly, of being misunderstood, of being abandoned by people you thought you could count on, that's universal. We've all been there in some way. Think about your own life for a second. Maybe it was at work. You made a mistake, or maybe you didn't, but it looked like you did, and suddenly people started whispering. The boss stopped looking at you the same way. Your teammates pulled away. And you felt like no matter what you said, nobody wanted to hear your side of the story. Or maybe it was in your own family. You confided in someone about something hard, and instead of support, you got silence. Or worse, judgment. And that silence cut deeper than words ever could. Or maybe it was with friends. The kind of friends you thought would always have your back, who said they'd always believe in you, until the moment believing in you became inconvenient. And just like that, they were gone. We've all felt that weight on our chest. The heaviness of knowing that people are saying things about you that aren't true, and you can't seem to stop it. The helplessness of seeing people walk away instead of standing by you. And we've all had those moments late at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering. Is it even worth trying to come back? Is it worth fighting for my place again? Wouldn't it just be easier to let it all go and accept that this is who I am now? Those questions, they can eat you alive if you let them. Because when the world is against you, when everything feels so loud and cruel and hopeless, it's tempting to believe it. It's tempting to believe that you deserve it. That you're not worth defending. That you'll never be the person you used to be again. But here's the truth. The loudest voices aren't always the truest. And just because people stop believing in you, doesn't mean you have to stop believing in yourself. That's what Johnny's story reminds us. That no matter how bad it gets, no matter how far you fall, there is always a way back. It doesn't happen all at once. It's not glamorous. It's not easy. But it is possible. And maybe, just maybe, that comeback isn't even about proving them wrong. Maybe it's about proving yourself right. About reminding yourself that you are more than this moment. More than the rumors. More than the mistakes. More than the worst thing someone said about you. Because we've all been the villain in someone else's story. Even when we didn't deserve it. We've all been misunderstood. We've all been judged without a fair chance to explain ourselves. But that doesn't mean you're finished. It just means your next chapter hasn't started yet. So if you're in that place right now, if you're sitting there feeling like the world has written you off, just remember. This is not the end of your story. You still have pages left to write. Even if nobody else is cheering you on yet, cheer for yourself. Even if nobody else sees your worth right now, see it yourself. Because the people who walked away, they were never meant to stay. The opportunities that vanished, they were never meant to define you. The mistakes you made, they don't have to own you forever. You are allowed to come back. You are allowed to rebuild. You are allowed to become something even better than you were before. And when you do, when you take that first little step, no matter how small, you'll see something incredible. You'll see that not everyone walked away. You'll see that there are still people who believe in you. You'll see that you are stronger than you ever thought you could be. Because strength isn't built when things are easy. It's built when things fall apart, and you keep going anyway. And when you finally come out the other side, even if it takes months or years, you'll look back and realize every step was worth it. So don't give up now. Not when you've come this far. Not when your story still has so much left to tell. You may not feel ready yet. You may still feel broken. But even broken things can shine. Even shattered pieces can be put back together into something beautiful. So pick yourself up. Take that next little step. Not for them. Not to prove anything to the world. But for you. Because you're still here. And you're not done yet. You never were. But just like Johnny, we have a choice. To believe in ourselves, even when no one else does, is one of the hardest things to do. Because when the world stops cheering, when the applause fades, when the messages of support dry up, it becomes so easy to doubt. So easy to look in the mirror and wonder if maybe everyone else is right about you. Maybe you aren't enough. Maybe you don't deserve another chance. Those thoughts creep in slowly, quietly, until they feel like the truth. But that's the thing about belief, it's a choice. Even when it feels like no one else sees your worth, you can still choose to see it in yourself. You can still wake up and decide that you matter. That your story matters. That your dreams matter. Even when it feels like no one cares. And to keep showing up, even when it feels pointless, that takes so much strength. Because there are days, we all have them, when you feel like nothing you do makes a difference. Like you're shouting into the void and no one's listening. Like every effort you make just falls flat. It's exhausting. But showing up anyway, that's where the magic starts. Every time you show up, at work, at home, in your art, in your life, you're planting a seed. Even if you can't see it sprouting yet, even if no one thanks you, even if no one claps for you. Seeds take time. And showing up, day after day, is what makes them grow. Even if you can't feel it yet, you're moving forward. You're building something. To keep creating, even when no one seems to notice, is one of the purest forms of hope. Because creating, whether it's art, music, writing, building, whatever your gift is, it's a piece of your soul you're sharing with the world. And when the world doesn't notice, when it doesn't appreciate what you've made, that hurts. It can feel like you're invisible. But you keep creating anyway, because creating isn't just for them. It's for you. It's how you heal. It's how you process. It's how you remember who you are, underneath it all. Even if no one sees it now, it matters. You matter. And one day, maybe when you least expect it, someone will see your work and it will mean everything to them. But you have to keep going long enough for that day to come. And to keep moving forward, even when the road feels impossible, that's what courage really is. Not the absence of fear. Not the absence of doubt. But taking one more step anyway. Even when it feels like you're walking in circles. Even when you can't see the end. Even when it feels like everyone else has an easier path and yours is uphill all the way. That quiet determination, to put one foot in front of the other and keep moving, that's the kind of bravery that changes lives. You don't have to know where the road leads yet. You just have to trust that it's leading somewhere worth going. And you just have to keep walking. That's really what his story is about. Not just a comeback, not just a public win, not just a moment of glory. It's about something much quieter. Something much deeper. A quiet kind of courage. The kind that no one claps for. The kind no one writes headlines about. The kind that happens in the dark, when no one's watching. It's in the small choices. The choice to keep going when you feel like stopping. The choice to keep believing when everyone else has given up. The choice to keep showing up, keep creating, keep moving forward, even when it feels like no one notices. That quiet courage. That's what makes all the difference. That's what keeps the light alive when the world feels dark. That's what makes comebacks possible, not just for Johnny, but for all of us. And maybe, just maybe, it's what's going to carry you through too. A reminder that you don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need to believe in yourself long enough for the rest to catch up. And maybe you needed to hear that today. Maybe you're going through your own quiet battle right now. If you are, just know, you're not alone. And your story isn't over yet. So here's what I want to know, have you ever had a moment like that? A time when you felt misunderstood? Judged? Like everyone had written you off. But you found a way to keep going anyway. If you have, tell me your story in the comments. I'd love to hear how you made your own little comeback. Because everyone loves a comeback story. And yours might just be about to begin. If you felt inspired by Johnny's journey, give this video a like. It helps more people find this message. And don't forget to subscribe, because we've got another video coming up about other stars who turned their biggest failures into incredible reinventions. You don't want to miss that one. Thanks for spending this time with me. Remember, you are more than your worst moment. Stay strong. Stay kind. And I'll see you in the next one.